Here we go. Salam, namaste, sat sri akal, adab. I love her. You've always loved her. Industry loves her. Italy loves her by bestowing the highest civilian honor on her, the Ordine della Stella Italia, the Order of the Star of Italy. Dubai loves her. Delhi adores her. A career spanning 3 decades, 6 restaurants in India, 3 in Milan. God only knows how many more in the foray. Catering vertical, author of several books, TV host. Oh my God, she's a brother. She's an iron lady. She's gorgeous. Meet her yourself. Ritu Dalmia.
So much love, Kunal.
No, I
so
love
much
you, you know
love.
I'm telling
Honestly,
you.
I've gone red in my
No,
face now.
seriously. And I didn't know you were my age as well. So I'm going to like little flirt with you also right now.
Oh, please.
Yeah,
There's
seriously.
always this thing of not available. The thrill of it.
Seriously. Tell me something. When you juggle so many hats, right? There's one question I ask myself, either with Indian School of Hospitality
Absolutely.
and now with you. Can quality be skilled?
No, it cannot be scaled. But for me, that's why training. This is the most important part. And yes, I wear many hats, but I also know my limits, Kunal. After a point, I cannot grow further, and I don't want to grow further because then quality is not going to be kept. The good part, what we have is none of our restaurants are like a scalable franchisee type of model. Each restaurant has its own individuality.
Correct.
Each restaurant has its own chef who's been trained to do the food. And the good part, I would say, which we have followed from day one, is constant training. So, this industry, better than I do, is very people dependent.
True.
People, they make restaurants. You can make amazing hardware. You can spend crores and crores and crores on putting this fancy light or that. But till you don't have your software in place, till you don't have your human resources in place, nothing matters. And that way, I've been very, very, very lucky. I have an amazing team. Some of the people in DIVA have been here from the day we have started. Okay, so I'm getting old and so are they. But it is something which you cannot scale after a certain, it's impossible. Then you've got to change your entire mindset, your entire product line. I'm not willing to do that.
So let's say you take these 9 restaurants, for instance. The 9 chefs in these 9 restaurants
Yes.
would have been trained under you.
Absolutely.
And the commies. So
Absolutely.
there would be a lead time, let's say.
Of
you would
course.
think way ahead in
So,
advance.
darling, my whole year goes into making new menus. By the time I finish training of one menu, it's time to make the new menu. And by the time I've finished with all the restaurants, it's time to change the menus again.
Tell me something. When you were with Wama, when you started with DIVA, the initial one, right?
Yes.
That FOMO is there with you, saying that
Of
what's
course,
happening with
it's still
GT
there.
of mine, what's happening with
It's
my
still
Mumbai
there.
restaurant?
It's shameful. It's
Yeah.
shameful. And
How do you cope with that?
how do I cope with it? I have
Uh.
sleepless nights. Do you see these dark
No, you're
circles
looking-
under my
No,
eyes?
you're looking I don't see any.
But something, I talk about it to many of my peers. I talk about it to many people who are like me in the industry, whether it's in events or whatever. This FOMO, in a way, is plus, and it's also a minus. Okay, I'm learning. Okay, I've let go a lot.
The art
in
of
the
delegation,
last-
right? You're talking about. You delegate more now?
I'm delegating a lot more. And also, I was very lucky. We have an amazing CEO at the moment who is the yin to my yang. In a
so
way,
nice.
he's a very calm, quiet, sensible boy. So every time I get super excited, he's there
Gotcha.
to. And in some ways, I think post-COVID, I also learned not only for myself, I mean, it's something for myself, but also for the betterment of my restaurants. I need to take a step back.
Yeah.
Because with restaurants like ours, what happens is they die with you. And I don't want that to happen.
True.
I don't want that to happen. It cannot be just dependent on one person, whoever it may be.
True.
And I'm same age as you are, 52. So let's face it, I'm not that young chicklet anymore. In the early days, I should be, the youngest little kid opening a restaurant and this very young. And now I still somewhere feel that and then say, hang on, there's a 5 attached to my age group. So I have learned to let go. But this FOMO, as I said, also has a plus point. The plus point is, it keeps you on your toes.
And you're always on top of things.
You
No
have
matter
to.
what.
Absolutely. And at the end, we're going to be 25 next year. DIVA is going to be 25. And sometimes I feel, wow, that's something.
And I've kind of seen this even with founders, right?
Yeah.
You look at yourself and I look at me. Is the fact that you want to let go, you want to empower the last person.
Yeah.
Eventually, he or she is the one who's taking all the decisions with the customers.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, you still want to hold something back, is because after all, it's just you. It's your DNA.
But can I tell you something? This is giving ourselves importance. This is a problem we have. Whether you have it, whether I have it. It's our problem. It is our problem that let's face it, I'm trying to be now a little profound here. If we give it up, or let me talk about myself right now, I can't. If I give it up or let go, what's left in my life? This is also what keeps me.
But when you look at from a customer's perspective, anyone who walks in here, let's say, if I want to come in here, I would come in here because it's Ritu's DIVA.
It is Ritu. But can I tell you now, again, when DIVA started, I was here every night. Okay, when Vama was there, I didn't take a day off for 2 years, 6 days. It's a record that I worked every lunch and every dinner shift for 2 years, 6 days.
And that was the destination in London.
Yeah, you can't sustain it.
Yeah.
So here also, as I said, I can't do late nights anymore. If I do 2 of them, I'm done. But the good part is, DIVA, in the beginning, when I started coming less and less, there were a lot of, guests were complaining, clients, the staff was complaining, the team was complaining that everyone's asking for you. I used to get calls non-stop. What shall we order? Why are you not here? And I would feel guilty, get out of my pajamas and come to the restaurant. It was a small phase. It changed. When people realize that they're getting the same quality, whether I'm here or not here, the thing changed, and it's the same. I had a meeting here yesterday with Ramesh, who is our main manager here and who's been here from day one. He's on speed dial with all the clients. So he was saying, how are we doing? Who are the old? He said still 90% old guests who keep on coming back, and it's 10% slow evolvement of the new younger lot. So if the quality is good, as I said, that goes away. And in a way, for a longevity of a restaurant, it is very important that, when you're young, you can be this lady of the house. You come floating in, you talk to everyone. And when I'm here, I still love to do it. I don't do it for the guest, I do it for myself. But it's not a healthy way to run a restaurant, and especially if you don't have just one. If you had one restaurant, you could do that. But when you have multiple restaurants, so I'm traveling all the time between Delhi, Mumbai, Dubai, and Italy. If I tell them I'm cooking here every night, I'm lying. Okay, it's impossible.
And within these, again, 4, let's just call it Europe and India, and now the Middle East, you have 2 very distinct cuisines.
Correct.
You have trattorias at one end, you have fine dining at the other end, and now you have also the Indian at the other end.
Correct.
How is this evolving, I would say, palate changing across?
So for me, I think all the cuisines that we develop is in some ways for my own selfish reasons. When I was young, my fascination with Italian food was overwhelming. It still is, mind you. So I always thought of other cuisines as lesser than. But you can't escape your genes.
True.
So Vama was Indian. And then I went back to my first love,
Correct.
which was Italian.
Italian.
And as I'm getting older, I'm also finding I want my home food after a certain point of view. So Atrangi, Chittamani in Milan happened because there was a need in me for developing my skill sets for Indian food, which I didn't have before that. So before Chittamani is when I worked, and I didn't want, it's not a modern Indian restaurant. Both of them are not modern Indian. For me, it's always been about home food. You know, I come from a Marwari household. We had Maharajas when we were growing up. You know, I grew up in Calcutta where the Thakurs had their, and today, no one has the time to do that home cooking anymore. When you have a dinner at home, Kunal, I'm sure the table is not of ghar ka khana or what your dadi made or what your nani made. It is some you must have catered because it's too much work. And maybe and the table is also maybe a European salad, one desi kebab, whatever.
Suiting everyone's palate.
Suiting everyone's palate. For me, as I said, I used to go to my mother's house, and now she doesn't, I mean, she never cooked, but because there were times when I would crave for food that used to be cooked in our home when I was growing up. So for me, Chittamani was about home food. And everyone told me, you know, in Italy you're doing, but again, as I said, it was a selfish need in me. And thankfully it got accepted very well. And Atrangi is another Chittamani, but in a different fashion, but the ethos is still the same. So it has been the different cuisines, trattoria, it has been for my personal growth. And you got to grow, even if you're 52.
Ritu, I'm going to ask you this question. And this is more, I'm trying to answer it for myself.
Yes.
And hopefully you can answer it for me. Italy benefits from the fact that you have 40-50 million tourists coming there. France benefits from 100 million. This year is about 24, is about 100 million. India has not benefited from that influx. So does the restaurant industry has that added gain in Europe, or let's say Thailand, or let's say the Middle East? Because not only you have native consumption, but you have people coming in from the outside.
Yes. So I agree with you. India restaurants don't benefit from tourism.
True.
They don't, except for restaurants in the hotel.
Correct.
So people who are staying there would eat one meal or something.
One or two restaurants, like a Bukhara or something.
Exactly. But if you're, let's say, a resident in the hotel and you don't feel like eating out, you will have one meal in your stay at your hotel. Saying that, they're very different markets. I'm not going to say one is better than the other. Okay? So India may have only your residents who are eating out. But the truth is, don't forget, Europe is going through recession. Okay? Today, India is the one where the economy is growing. So eating out has become more prevalent with the residents than it was, let's say, 20 years ago.
There's no money at the end.
There's no money. So I hate to say it, but let's say a wine spend of my local Indian guest is going to be a lot more than a tourist who has walked in or found his way into the restaurant. So the average spend is a lot more. Whilst in Italy, although 70% of our clients are Italians and tourists, 30% are Indians who are craving for home food who come to the restaurant. Our spending is again more with the natives than with the tourists. So yes, if I got more tourists here, it'll be amazing for me. The sales would increase. But as I said, the spending power is definitely with the natives.
When you were with Vama, now you're with Chittamani and the second restaurant there, or when you look at Dubai, have we evolved in India? Palates have evolved.
Yes.
Has consumerism evolved in India?
No, it hasn't. Because, as I said, Indian food or Indians in some way are like Italians. Our cuisine is very rich. Don't forget, just the way Italian cuisine is one of the richest, best. There are three cuisines. Okay? Chinese, Indian and Italian in my opinion. Now, in UK, where the local cuisine itself is so weak that they have evolved because they have embraced
Correct.
all other cuisines,
So right.
because their own cuisine
Yeah.
is not rich at all.
Yeah.
Whilst in India, our cuisine is so rich that even if you have 500 new restaurants or how shall I say, cuisines or different thing, they
We will
need
overwhelm them. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is something you cannot
And
change.
the same thing is with China as well.
The same thing is with China.
Yeah,
Now
that's
I'll
so
tell you,
right.
in Italy,
Mm.
just to give you an example, when I've been going to Italy since I was 10, and the reason why I opened a restaurant in Milan, okay, selfish reasons, because I speak the language, I love the country, and for me it was important. My first international outpost is in a country that I love. But Italy also today, except for Milan, there is no other city which embraces international cuisine. The only restaurants that you will find in Italy is Japanese. They love Japanese because of the raw fish.
Got it.
But do they have the same array of international food like what UK has, or New York has, or Melbourne has, or Madrid has? No, they don't. Again, for the same reason. The local cuisine is so rich and they need their mummy's pasta every 2 days.
Got it.
It will never ever evolve just the way it hasn't evolved in India.
There's a whole generation, right, of students who are looking up to you.
Yeah.
You're a super role model. And there are many others as well. Where do you think, in your opinion, if I have to just ask you to cast your eye, let's say 10 years, 15 years from now, just India, and I'll tell you where I'm kind of coming from. My vision now for ISH is, I say it's made for India, not made in India.
Absolutely.
It's made for the new India, and it's made for the world.
Absolutely.
So do you think, when you speak about recession in Europe or the Americas, or let's say, and the fact that it has an aging population, I believe the next export would be hospitality people.
It's already happening, Kunal. Today, let's face it, Italy, you can't find people. Okay?
France, you can't find.
You can't find people.
Yeah.
Nowhere. UK restaurants are shutting down 2 days, 3 days in a week as holidays because they don't have enough staff. India, which I thought always had you had talent, that's also going away. That's going away.
We're exporting the talent.
You're exporting the talent.
I think it's a good thing.
It's a good thing. I'm not sure, as a restaurateur, I agree with you.
Okay.
Because, as I said, it's become a bigger challenge to find talent in India.
For sure.
Because also they think, and I'll be honest with you, I still believe when you talk about the future India of the India 10 years from now, the career opportunities are here.
Absolutely.
They are not overseas. They are not. It's great to go, get exposure, learn something. But today you can't save money.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is the market. This is a young population. This is where the people are going to be. The kids who come today are clients who are going to be spending their own credit card money in 10 years from now.
So when I talk to the youth, and I'm very, very close to the youth because of Indian School of Hospitality, right? They have a very interesting take on this, Ritu. They're saying, you know what, there are 10 or 15 Ritu Dalmias in India. That's about it. Where innovation is happening. They do not want to work anymore for the hotels.
And they shouldn't.
Right? And
unless hotels change their...
Unless hotels change. I don't think so they are going to change. I think there is... that's a different podcast by itself.
Yes.
but the fact is, because there are few innovators in India, they are looking at Middle East,
fair enough,
at Europe.
But can I tell you, Kunal, this is changing. This is seriously changing. So again, when I started off, when, let's say, even midway through my career, there were very few chef-run restaurants.
True.
In fact, I still remember when I opened Mezzaluna, which was I think that was one of the first chef-run restaurants. And it was a struggle. It was before its time. But today you can't say that. Today, as I said, there are so many amazing people that I'm looking up to who are maybe 20 years younger than me, because there's creativity, there is talent. And I'm not talking just about Delhi, Bombay. I'm talking about
Hyderabad, Bangalore, for sure.
Pan India.
And the tier 2 cities.
Absolutely.
The
So
Indores,
these kids, actually, these are the kids who are going to become role model one day. The kids who are saying they're not enough role models. And I think your kids also need to look outside hotels. You know, they go to hotels because they think it's a job security. Okay?
Yeah.
But what do they learn?
Yeah, I'm with you. Firstly, so let me debunk there. My
Yeah.
kids don't not join hotels.
Okay,
anymore.
super.
So that's because they don't want to. That's
Yeah.
one aspect. They only chase innovation, to
Yes.
your point.
Yes.
Some of them are looking out for their return of
This is
investment.
Mr. Ramesh Pandey.
How are you, sir?
He is, like I
Excellent.
said, as old as Diva is. Okay,
your
so
hair was as me
hair
now.
is colored, that means.
Thank you so much, Ramesh. Yeah.
Ah.
Sorry. Oh, thank you. Really appreciate that. This was required.
Yes.
Yeah. So the fact is, the youths want to join where innovation is happening within a
Absolutely.
restaurant, specialized cuisines.
Yeah.
Now, of course, even in India, I do not know. Have you noticed this? I think sushi has its own sunshine nowadays. In India,
Absolutely.
right? The whole Japanese
Absolutely.
kind of
Yeah,
cuisine.
yeah.
Why is that? Again, when I look at an Indian palate, I just find this as a dichotomy happening.
So I'll tell you, it's curiosity.
Ah,
It's curiosity. Don't forget, when I was growing up, you were growing up, travel was not easy.
true.
Okay. I remember $300 used to be the entire allowance given by the government for your whole trip. Today, travel is so much more accessible
True.
to everyone. So they are exposed.
Yeah.
They want to, what they ate in London or what they ate in, whether it was sushi or whatever, they want to come and replicate that experience. Will they eat sushi every day? No, they will not. At the end, they will eat one meal of sushi, maybe one meal of pasta. Next 5 days has to be dal chawal, kadi chawal. So the thing is, acceptance has become more, but Indian palate is also very particular. So I'll give you a simple example. They may be eating sushi because I said, for whatever reason, it's good for Japanese restaurant.
Yeah.
But French food has never been accepted in India.
Never.
And never will be, because whatever said and done, with sushi, you have your soya, you have your gari, you will add
True.
your little thing and make it
And you have your
little.
wasabi to make it a little bit more piquant.
Exactly. Now, French restaurant historically has never worked and will never work, because
The palate
what
doesn't.
masala will you add to that?
True.
Okay, here they will in Italian, because it's so rich in garlic, tomato, herbs. You can put a little chili flake. You can ask for a chili oil. So Italian they love because it's very close to their taste buds.
Good.
Okay, but French they will never accept.
So with that newfound taste that you're talking about,
Yeah.
we are far more travel today. Do you think premiumization, at least at some element, can be demanded now? Are customers willing to
Are
pay
you
for ingredients?
so you think it's not happening already?
I think it is happening, not at the scale it should happen.
It cannot happen also because don't forget the people who can spend that money not as a novelty experience but as something. So let me put it in another way for you, the same thing. I could open a premium restaurant. I am sure if I put anyway, like I said, ingredients are damn good here. So people think Diva is expensive, but it's not. But let's say even if I was to go a step above, okay, and really make everything locally sourced, organic, miles, haven't traveled miles, there will be a huge premium value for it. My clients will come there once as a novelty factor.
True.
Because will they come again and again? No, they will not. So for me personally, as a business, these high premium restaurant, because of these factors, is not a good model.
Yeah. It just doesn't make
It doesn't make business sense.
No.
Now, if you see worldwide, as I said, it's not only in India, let's say worldwide. You have restaurants like Noma, which at the end had to rejig their entire model because I have several friends in Scandic countries who had the same concept at a very high premium level. It doesn't work. It only works if they just about barely make their own salaries out of the restaurant, which means they have to work in that restaurant from morning to night
It's
to
not
be able.
sustainable
It's
at all.
not sustainable. It's not sustainable. So it's a actually catch-22 situation. The chef in me wants to open that sort of a restaurant. The chef in me wants a 12-seater restaurant, a day's menu based on the fresh produce, based on what's available.
But just the environment will not allow
It will not allow.
I have my own theory in this, Ritu. Quickly, I'll just kind of sum it up for you. I think there are, of course, we are rising, middle class is rising.
Yeah.
But largely Indians' household income,
Yeah.
so I don't talk per capita,
Yes.
is between, I would say, 20 to 30, that's about 20 to 30 lakhs a year.
Absolutely.
If it is 20 to 30 lakhs,
Absolutely.
I believe what we should be enticing them is
Yeah.
frequency,
Yes.
and let's say per household meal, 3,000, 3,500.
You
They
got
need the
you
sweet
have
spot.
nailed it.
Yeah.
This is exactly our model.
Yeah.
This is exactly my thought process. And also there's another part to it, Kunal. People are fed up of. So let me tell you, when DIVA opened, the clients that were coming that time, which were in the age group of, let's say, 30 to 35, okay, their mindset was very different because they had just moved from 5 stars to standalone. Okay, so they wanted that silver glove service, they wanted this, tablecloths, etc., because that was the idea of a fine dine restaurant. No one wants it anymore. People are fed up.
True.
They want very high quality food, but without getting intimidated by it. And what does that mean? It means a restaurant which is an X price, where you can come back 2 times a week or 2 times a month without thinking twice that it will dent my pocket in a certain way and I have to compromise on my eating. We don't want our restaurants to be just a special event restaurant. Okay, so
it should be pretty much your
it should be
daily staple.
Absolutely. So again, as I said, we turned 25 and I was saying, shit, we are turning like Muti Mahal, a family restaurant, which is...
but the world over such restaurants are legendary. If you look
but as I said,
Diva
is really...
Tell me something. If you remove... Taj had the trattorias?
Taj had the trattoria.
Right? If you just remove them out.
President
had the trattoria, right? If you remove them out.
I
don't remember any Italian restaurant.
No.
Diva was the only
So
one.
I'll tell you, there used to be Casa Medici, in Taj, which didn't work. Here, they had opened in Taj Mahal.
So if you remove the restaurants within the hotel.
Mezzaluna, in my career, I opened Mezzaluna, and 3 months or 6 months later, La Piazza opened.
Correct.
So yes, but as I said, it's all have-beens. And for me, now it's looking forward. And looking forward means having these young Turks who are excited about food, coming in, learning it, loving it, and taking the flag forward.
How important for you, if there is a youth listening to you, which incidentally they are, right? How do you balance business and skill in this? Because I'll tell you what's happening with the restaurant, at least the youth's aspiration, right? The aspiration is about the fact I will work for some time
and then I want to open my own. Which is a very good thing.
I believe so.
Which is an amazing thing. And honestly, for me, if I have youths like that, I will invest in their restaurants.
Super.
I will invest in their restaurants because at the end, if they learn something with me and they don't make something out of it, then I'm sorry to say I was a very bad teacher. Today, I feel so proud when some of our kids who are working worldwide and doing amazing things I feel a little bit responsible for it. Little bit. We
yeah.
have these kids who are old diva kids like Aku's Burger, Akriti.
Yeah, that.
Um,
What's she doing?
yeah,
Oh, she's a diva kid.
she's a diva
I
kid.
love her
Yes,
food truck in Gurgaon.
absolutely.
Yeah.
She's a complete for many years.
Right.
And then we have this Madhav who's in Goa running Miguel's.
Yes.
And so there are several diva kids who have gone out on their own, done amazing things.
I love it. The fact that you are part of this legacy and you're creating your own. There's no better feeling than that.
No, it's something I'm very proud of. In fact, if you go to Goa sometime, go and eat in a restaurant called Edible Archives.
Edible Archives.
Okay, there's a amazing ex-diva kid. It's her restaurant. And Anumitra, she always intimidated me even when she was there because she was a walking, talking encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Okay, I used to always say you should be in academics, double PhD, MIT educated. And she's doing a restaurant based only on indigenous rice.
Wow.
Now, that is someone who had the passion, someone who had the creativity, who got her skill sets in Diva and found her own path. So, as I said, kids should aspire, but there's a time and place for everything. Learn your skill sets, and the thing is, it's not only about learning the kitchen part. I think people who aspire and say we want to open our own restaurant, what they don't realize is also business part that they need to learn. If you look at, sorry, I'll just complete it very quickly. If you look at restaurants worldwide, Michelin star restaurants, the chefs are never running the business.
No.
Either their brother or their sister or someone who's running the business part of it. Okay? And that is something which I would recommend to every young kid or youth who wants to open a restaurant and is working in the kitchen, that working in the kitchen is not enough. You've got to also understand a little bit of the business part for it to be sustainable and long-term.
When you talk about Michelin, India, somewhere, I think, and lack of knowledge more than anything else, is we are obsessed with this whole Michelin culture.
Oh, I'm not.
India.
I'm not.
Right? I'm very cynical about it.
You don't make money.
I think it's highly mechanized.
Yeah, and it's a photocopying machine. Everyone.
Can I tell you something? I just don't like the taste as well.
Yeah, no, it's not. So you know what's happening? It's a very strange thing. Again, it's got to do with age, I think. When I was young, every award meant something to me. Every time I used to get thrilled when there was this award or that award. Today, it means, I appreciate it.
It means nothing.
But it doesn't mean anything because at the end of the day, there's so many different things that can go wrong in the so-called awards that you say, hang on, do you want to be part of this thing where I'm not.
Yeah, you're right.
So same as with Michelin, what's happened is, we all know the story of Michelin. So unfortunately, one of our restaurants, which is run by my business partner, Viviana, is a Michelin star, but we don't make money in it, okay? It's good for her ego, it does whatever it does, but money is made in our bistros and trattorias. Michelin star started with French restaurants. They had a certain level what they wanted. Now, what was applicable to that style or that country
cannot be applicable and cannot be
replicated. And what happened, which today thankfully is coming back in Italy, there was this huge thing. Every restaurant was turning their menus, their style of service to get the Michelin. And the local, what their essence was somewhere getting lost, So, I hope I don't get into any sort of trouble. But honestly, it is such an outdated concept. It's such and I feel the same about, like I said, give me a check any day, buddy.
But I also, I won't call myself a cynic in this, I'm sure, and a lot of respect to people who've got it. I can't fathom bunch of unknowns coming into, let's say, your restaurant and rating it.
And
for me, you earlier mentioned, 90% of your clients are repeat for the last 25
Absolutely.
years.
Absolutely.
That validation, that love is Michelin for me.
Yeah, but also a lot of responsibility
Of course
comes
it
with
is.
that.
I'm saying it's just
There-
yeah.
Absolutely, like you
Yeah.
said, you know. So I remember a couple of years ago, few years ago, a young kid came, very talented. I'm not going to name him, who's doing pretty well for himself now. Came, worked in DIVA, and he came through a friend. So young nephews. And the first question he asked me is, "What is our awards plan for the year?
Hmm.
Which all awards are we planning, aiming for?"
Yeah.
I said, "Buddy, first get settled in, learn the trade, and later, we'll go." But that was his single aim. I want to be part of every award ceremony,
Yeah.
which as a young person, I can
External
understand.
influences are
I
there.
can understand.
So right, yeah.
But unless and until it is solid and valid, which there are not many, honestly, I don't know.
I know you're strapped for time, and because I came
Little
in late
bit.
as well. Yes.
Little bit.
Tell me something, Ritu. 15 years from now, you and me, when you're in Goa, I'll be next door.
Yes.
What legacy? When you
For
just look
me,
back, what legacy would you like to leave behind?
that I paid a little contribution in making many future chefs of this country. And 15 years from now, if I still have the energy, I want to teach. Maybe you'll give me a job at your institute. But I really...
You'll be the most expensive teacher, but
No. Honestly, I want, if I can play even a small role in making someone's dream come true in the kitchen world, I will be the happiest in the world, Kunal.
I'll tell you what, Ritu, and this is again my view. What you have done, and there are very few people like you in India, at least in the food service industry, what they have done. They've completely changed the mindset of the youth.
I
Right?
hope so.
I'm telling you. And when this podcast is released, I will share the comments with you because I don't know. We put it out there.
Yes.
I'll
You
share with
promise you will share it
I'll
with them.
share with you the comments.
Yeah.
And I can preempt what the comments are going to be.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for some time now.
Yes.
So what you have done is there's this whole generational shift towards authentic role models in India.
Oh.
And you have made, I would say, restauranting, the business of restauranting, cuisines, everything right up there. As much I know, couple of bureaucrats children who today, ideally they would have been
Yeah.
computer science engineers or architects or whatever, and
Then
they
the
want
kitchen.
to join in that
Yes.
field.
So,
This is that mindset shift
buddy,
you have done.
I've had a paramedic, lawyers, bankers, okay, who have left their careers, come and joined the kitchen. Akriti was a
Yes.
banker.
Yeah.
Okay, she was a banker. I have another kid who was a paramedic.
Yeah.
So, look, this is an amazing, amazing trait to
Yeah.
be in. The thrill, the satisfaction of feeding people
Yeah.
and then getting a pat on your back. And today it's no longer a bawarchi.
Yeah.
You're no longer a bawarchi. So kudos to all these kids, whether they are bureaucrats kid, because this
But
is...
that would be your lasting legacy in India. That Wonder Woman who changed. No, I'm serious. And there are only few. And you know what? Let me also tell you one thing. 55% of ISH students are girls today.
Can I tell you,
Why do you
this
think?
is so amazing.
Why do you think?
Whatever, I don't know, but whatever you're doing, you're
Yeah.
doing an amazing part, because women are more, how shall I say, naturally better in kitchen.
Finer nuances.
The nuances, the sense of detailing.
sure,
I'm sorry, no
absolutely. Yeah,
offense meant, Kunal,
no.
but give me a woman chef any day over a male. Okay,
What?
this was seriously sexist.
No, that's absolutely fine. And I'm so glad there are more women coming.
Why are they?
Again, it comes back. What really happens, if you just give me a minute on this, is everyone looks at role models as someone to look up to, someone who needs to there's a benchmark of
Yeah,
sorts.
yeah.
Earlier, when we were growing up, Amitabh Bachchan was the benchmark
Absolutely.
of sorts.
Still a benchmark, yeah.
Right? In the 80s and 90s, I would say Shah Rukh was there.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that spawned a generation
Yes,
of, let's say,
yes.
someone, acting.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
People like you have done that.
Thank you.
No, I'm serious.
Thank you.
55%. I've got
Thank
600
you.
students.
Wow.
55%.
When is the next batch out?
Anytime.
Huh? When can I come to your
Oh,
institute?
Whenever you're next in
Huh?
India. I know you're traveling.
No,
quite a
no,
lot.
I really
No,
want to.
seriously.
Dead serious.
Absolutely.
I
You
want
would love
some
that.
of these girls from your 55%
Absolutely.
and make super duper chefs out of them.
Absolutely.
Okay.
With pleasure. 2-3 questions left.
Yes.
What remains your ultimate goal?
I just said my ultimate goal at the end. I wish actually I knew. I don't have an ultimate goal actually when I think about it.
Yeah.
Take each day as it comes. Don't forget I'm a Vipassana follower.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't do goals.
Yeah.
Okay, we take each thing that comes.
You just keep
Away.
walking.
You
just
keep on walking. You have to. You have
How
to.
do you handle setbacks? Because you've been
So I've been
like a crazy.
my-
It's like a
it's
yeah.
been a roller coaster.
And how do you keep yourself grounded?
So I think something has to do with genes in the sense I think I am better prepared for setbacks. So it's a very strange thing with me and it's a secret, Kunal. When a setback happens or a situation happens, I turn into Wonder Woman.
Super.
Okay? I do the whole whatever needs to be
And
done.
then you grieve.
And then I grieve. And then it's like a fall, which takes some time for me to come back to. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, because I think it takes a lot out of you personally.
The energy out, the whole aspect out,
But
right?
for me, I've always been a fighter. Whenever there's any issues, it's taking it.
The little hence Iron Lady, I said that.
Yeah.
This is the typical
Yeah,
truth.
but there's
a price to pay for that.
there's a price to pay for
Yeah,
that as
yeah,
well.
But there's a price always to pay for success.
Absolutely.
If you want a chef or a restaurant,
Sorry, if I want a DJ.
oh,
And what an
love it.
amazing DJ I would have been.
Oh,
Okay, I still like to make playlists for the restaurant,
Oh,
but
I
they don't
love it.
accept it anymore. This is too out of date.
what's your favorite non-food related hobby?
Reading. I love to read.
Do you read something in the moment or something which you think is bothering you or something which is trending?
No,
or
I just read everything.
anything that comes your way.
From erotica to philosophy.
Oh, super. Nice. If you could swap lives with someone.
If I could swap life with someone. No, I like my life very much the way it is. I don't think I would like to swap it with no one.
What's that one movie or a book you will always come back to?
Okay, so movie, Babette's Feast. I
Okay.
think it is the most beautiful movie I've ever seen. Book for me would be Jeanette Winterson. She's one of my favorite authors. And Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit, the book by her. It's something I've read 5 times over.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll keep it, we'll mention all this in the caption
Yes,
of the podcast
yes,
so that people
yes.
can look up to, and the Babette's Feast as well, right? If you could teleport anywhere in the world right now,
Right now, Goa, my home with
Why?
my doggies. I'm missing my doggies and my cats. And honestly,
But how often do you go there now?
technically, officially, I live in Goa.
I know,
Which means fuck all.
Yeah.
Okay. So
but
I
you
think
go there what 15-20 days a year?
no.
COVID you were there for some
COVID,
time.
I was there
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah.
So now I'm doing about 6 days in a month, more or less.
So when you come down to India, Bombay, Goa or Delhi, Goa?
Exactly.
Right. Would
Exactly.
you be opening something in Goa as well?
Never.
Why?
Never.
Why?
Because that's my safe place. That's my
Ah,
haven.
so
That's
right.
my security blanket.
And you don't want to be seen there. You just want to
I want to be,
disappear
like
in
I
the,
said,
in the
I-
serenity
I
of
cook
Goa.
there every day for myself
Dal
and my
chawal?
partner. Everything.
Everything.
Everything. I love to cook there. And in fact, now what I've started doing is getting my chefs to Goa, okay, from the restaurant. So you come stay with me for 4 days. We will cook together and the training will happen in my kitchen in Goa.
If you had one question to ask me, and I have struggled quite a lot to be
Oh,
where I am
yes,
today,
yes,
what
yes.
would it be?
Why did you choose education in hospitality?
I think Indian education system needs transformation 10 times over.
I agree with you 100%.
I came from a broken education system. We mended the education in some way. Indian School of Hospitality, when you look at the education system, I'm not
Yeah.
talking about the output.
Yes.
I think today aligns itself with, we are work in progress.
But can I tell you, I am so impressed by what you're doing.
Thank you.
I am so impressed when I've been to your institute, and honestly, just the way you said, I'm doing something, don't undermine yourself and don't underestimate yourself, because what you guys are doing is so much bigger, stronger, and a foundation that you're laying.
Absolutely.
So I'm in fact a bit jealous, because I always wanted to, educate and teach in hospitality.
Yeah.
And you bastards have done it before I did.
I love it. With all the endearment towards the last word, but
Sorry.
right.
Oops. I should.
No, I love it. I
Sorry.
love this conversation. I started off by saying India loves her, Dubai loves her, I adore her. I love her even more even today. I started by saying she is an iron lady. She's that tall order. But more importantly, again, I'm telling all of you out there, the youngers, the oldies, whoever it is, here you have successful people. And in my life, I have seen just two kinds of success. People who are successful and talk about it, and people who are successful and share. Ritu is one of those who shares his success and remains immensely grounded. I couldn't tell you how much I love.
Thank you, Kunal. Like I said,
Thank
you've
you
done wonders for my ego today.
No, seriously.
Thank
you so much.
My pleasure.
And my apologies for coming in late.
Arey, don't worry, yaar.
Right?
Don't worry. Now you
Got
eat a
that.
pizza.
Ah,
Okay.